If there was anything I wanted you to take away from this video right here, it was that I didn't personally think that Deck 9 had your best interests at heart. And the main thing I want you to take away from this video is that Deck 9 definitely does not have your best interests at heart. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Life is Strange Double Exposure. The game just came out about 24 hours ago. Chapter 1 and 2 has been out for about a week or so now, and there is a strong aura of disappointment around Double Exposure. And quite frankly, I told you so. I absolutely knew without a shadow of a doubt that this game was going to be a disappointment, but I had no idea just how bad it was going to get. The main qualm that most people have with this game is that Double Exposure isn't a focused game on the people anymore. It isn't focused on the people just like the original Life is Strange games were. The best thing about the original games was that, yeah, there were powers, but they were never the main focus of the game. Double Exposure is a complete change in philosophy here, where it is all about the powers, to the point that the ending is quite frankly laughable. Like seriously laughable. There are so many memes coming out now of Life is Strange now becoming the Avengers, with all these people with powers seemingly joining up together in the future game. And you know, one character has been likened to Nick Fury. It's just honestly a joke. They have absolutely turned this franchise into a joke, and that is just the surface level stuff. Seriously, if you want to get even more surface level outside of the game, it turns out that the Ultimate Edition cat content is a complete and utter scam. You get like 2 or so minutes between each, like in each chapter with the cat, and that's about it. You paid £30 extra, $30 extra, whatever you want to say, for that. Wow. And obviously you got the early access as well, but given the fact that it was already a bit of a disappointment, it's just a huge scam across the board. If you bought the Ultimate Edition, I don't even feel sorry for you. If you feel scammed, it was your fault. Everybody called that as a scam from the get-go. Who the hell buys an Ultimate Edition for exclusive cat content? Get one in real life, bro. Seriously. But for real, my main issue with the in my Angry Rant video was around the topic of Max and Chloe, and a lot of those fears came to light in sort of the first 2 chapters of the game, unfortunately, where they just... It turns out it's even worse than we imagined. It's not... So if you chose to sacrifice Chloe in the first game and you went into that game with that choice, you're not going to be affected too much by this, at least this thing in particular, this situation in particular. But you still got a disappointing game regardless. But I just want to get into the Max and Chloe stuff just to get it out of the way as quick as possible. What they've done with Chloe Price in Double Exposure is, well, it can only be described as character assassination. She is completely unlike herself from not only the first game but also Before the Storm, and I've seen some comparisons actually liken her to Rachel, more like Rachel Amber from Before the Storm, and how she ended up in Life is Strange 1 with the way that Chloe treats Max. Chloe, by the end of the first game, has a complete and utter trust towards Max, to the point that she stands by Max whatever choice she chooses by the end of the first game, regardless of whatever happens. Hell, there was a whole comic book issue, a comic book series that actually dug into what happened in Life is Strange 1 after Max saves Chloe. So, you know, obviously there is already canon, or at least there was canon content for that relationship. That has been completely thrown out the window in this game. Chloe moves on from Max seemingly because Max was too busy living in the past, and Chloe wanted to look forward to the future. She didn't want to settle down, which makes sense and also makes sense in the subject of Max, because she herself is stuck in the past and trying to move on at the same time, but as a result she's ended up really lonely and sort of disconnected from the world around her. Case in point, everybody knows of her, but nobody actually knows her, which is cool as a concept. And powers in other Life is Strange games are usually used as just a tool, a plot device to further these feelings in people, in the relationships, blah, blah, blah. This game completely bastardizes that and makes it all about the powers, to the point that the people in relationships take the back seat. And it's to the point, at the end of the game, obviously, you go through a nightmare sequence which is straight up copied from Life is Strange 1's polarized episode. Go figure, no creativity there. But Safi turns out to be someone with superpowers, again, go figure. And she wants to find more people with powers and make this, like superpower group or whatever, which has been likened to the Avengers, as I've said, which is a complete and utter joke. That is a joke. And you'll see that resonate throughout the entire Life is Strange community. Don't believe me? Go onto the subreddit right now and you'll see it. Even people who enjoyed the first 2 episodes, that didn't mind the whole Max and Chloe thing, even people that clearly chose to sacrifice Chloe at the end of the game, have come out of this game feeling really disappointed, because it completely changes what Life is Strange is supposed to be. It makes the powers the priority over how the powers dictate the relationships in the game. This post by the user Sync Plenty pretty much encapsulates the entire issue, and it says, Double Exposure came along and made the powers be this cool thing and make them centerfold, which they aren't. They come at a time of emotional distress and sorrow in the previous games. I don't even want to play this game merely because of the ending, which spoilers if you care. Wanting to create an Avengers group of people with powers is so damn dumb and goes against everything Life is Strange is. Powers ruin your life. They make a mess. You don't want them. They are metaphors for unhealthy coping mechanisms and not something to desire more or try to exploit. I don't need to say any more on that subject. That was the perfect way to put it. And now, as we reach the conclusion of this video, I wanted to give a special shout out to user HoHoey on Reddit that made a long review of Double Exposure. It's a pretty unbiased review, talking about things that they did genuinely really like about the game, but it's mainly about subjects and concepts that aren't fully explored at all. Like what I said earlier, the whole Max feeling alone and stuck in between the past and the future, and how the double exposure thing, being able to shift between timelines could be a metaphor for that, but it's not explored at all, because again, the powers are centerfold and not the people and relationships. They tried so hard to market this as a standalone game while also being a sequel, which doesn't work, mind you, and at best this is a soft reboot. But when you make a soft reboot and try to market it as a sequel at the same time, especially if you have returning characters, those characters need to be given a certain amount of respect, even if a lot of things has changed about them, like maybe their look's a little different, maybe the voice actor is different, but the characterization needs to be consistent. A good example of a soft reboot done right is, ironically enough, done by another predatory company, Activision. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That game is how you do a soft reboot. That story, that campaign, whatever, is how you do a soft reboot. That was perfect. And they built off of that now to make Black Ops 6, which I'll be dropping a review on that soon. But what you don't do is take previously established character points, such as Max's care for Chloe, Chloe's care, deep care for Max, in a game that you made. Before the Storm, guys, you made Before the Storm. Chloe literally had a journal addressed to Max. She missed her violently. To go from that to being in a position where Chloe can choose to move on from Max is just completely ludicrous. Completely ludicrous. It's character assassination. If anybody's moving on, I would have thought it would have been, well, no one, to be fair. I was going to say Max, but that just felt wrong to say. There's no way they would move on from each other, you know? And that's not what Don't Nod wanted neither. The comic book series serves as proof of that. Life is Strange 2 and the little references serve as proof of that. And that's my main gripe with it, to be honest, the whole Max and Chloe thing, but I've wanted to stay a little unbiased with this. Nobody's happy with this game, it seems. Not a lot of people at all. Hell, the whole Max and Chloe thing doesn't even happen on screen. It's just not important. Life is Strange 1 is just not important. It's to the point that a fucking storm happens again in Double Exposure. Like, the first game is a complete joke to these people. They have just completely retreaded previous plot points. It's a soft reboot. They have completely soft rebooted the characters while trying to keep the first game tacked on to not piss off everybody. But the efforts are in vain because it's low effort. It's complete low effort. It's complete slop. And yeah, quite frankly, it's getting the reception that it deserves. And to be honest, I don't think there needs to be a sequel. I don't think there should be. Apparently, they've got a sequel already in development for this game, and I just... No. No. We need to call it quits. Life is Strange needs to be done. It needs to be handed to another team entirely or just left alone, because it is only going to get worse from here in every sense of the word. In fan reaction and in fan retention. And you know what that equals? Loss of money. The future of the franchise genuinely looks pretty bleak. Again, shout out to Ho Hoey. She said, at its core, I've always seen Life is Strange as a series about people. People and their flaws and how those flaws shape us into who we are and how we can learn to move past them, or in some cases, allow them to consume us. The powers always served as an added element to the characters themselves, something to personify their desires, wants, growth, and development. Trying to place the powers above the characters in terms of importance has never been what this series is about, and if that's where we're going, I honestly don't want to see it continue. Preach. Absolutely preach. I can't put it any better myself. You know, that's why I'm using these Reddit posts, because I didn't play the game. You know, I didn't play the game. I already knew it was going to be bad from the get-go. But again, like I said earlier on in the video, I really didn't foresee it being as bad of a disappointment as it has ended up being. I genuinely thought we'd already gotten the worst possible situation, and that was cutting off nearly half the fan base with going down a particular route. But instead, it seems to have just, you know, cut off the entire fan base, because it's almost as if a completely different developer entirely worked on this game. There's an utter lack of understanding towards what made the game so popular in the first place, to the point that they have even managed to ruin how all the Life is Strange games were always written. And that you can't do any worse than that. You know, this just feels like bad fan fiction to me. Entirely. That's what it is. I've read fan fictions that are genuinely better than this. There was a whole comic book issue series that covered, you know, sacrificing Arcadia Bay ending and going forth from there. That covered the Max and Chloe relationship a lot better, and quite frankly had a much better story than this. This has not been thought out whatsoever, and it's clear, especially with the cat content advertisements between each episode, that the main motivation for Life is Strange now for Square Enix is money. And when that happens to a franchise you love, that's when you need to call it quits. That's when you need to stop giving these developers money. That's the only way your voice is going to be heard. And at this point, they're not listening. So we should just not put any money towards this. We should not put any attention towards this. This is it. This is over. Why would you want a sequel for something that you didn't even like? Why would you want a sequel to something that has not done well with its core fan base, that has served as a complete disappointment? Why would you want that? Why would you put money towards that? There's a Reddit post that I saw where this guy says, oh, I found the game a disappointment, but I'm going to pre-order the next one because I want to see where the story goes. Just watch a playthrough. Just watch a playthrough. Why would you want to put money towards that when you didn't even like the source material? I don't get it. I don't get it. And at this point, to me, Life is Strange is dead. It's dead to me. It's absolutely dead to me. I told you that I would keep an eye on it, that, I would boycott the game, but I would keep an eye on it. And, yeah, this is it. I'm not going to keep an eye on it from now on. I'm completely done. It might get on my radar in future, but I doubt I'll make another video on it, because I'm just done. I'm just completely done. So, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in and watching this little rant, this ramble. Not as angry as the first one, but I hate doing videos like this. I've done multiple angry rants over games that I care about this year. WWE 2K, F1. I'll be doing a little one on Black Ops 6, because as much as I like that game, there is a genuine big issue with the ending of that game. So there's a little spoiler for my next video. And now Life is Strange. It's such a shame, man, that these companies are completely just making our beloved franchises worse every single year. And in the case of Life is Strange, this is it. I'm done.